It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang.
Do you know that when you have a state dinner, you have to use a tent and there's nowhere to go to the bathroom, so you have to have a porta potty? We are making dignitaries from foreign countries go to the bathroom in porta potties. This is a gift to the country, a gift to any other Democrat president. Barack Obama spent $400 million to do a basketball court and rewire a few pipes. This thing is a legacy. Of course he's naming it after himself. Trump steaks, Trump water, Trump wine. I'm not surprised. Greg understands also a well-timed F-bomb, nothing better than that. True. The problem is Democrats think Trump got to the White House through F-bombs. He didn't. They look at him as so one-dimensional. The guy can drop a few F-bombs, but he could also be the most tender man when he's comforting families in pain or orchestrating grand...
Like shooting alley hoops with paper towels. That was so comforting to Puerto Rico.
And strategy with power players throughout the world, or a policy wonk. He's kind of a policy wonk. So this guy's multidimensional because he's a person, and he honed these skills over decades in the media. It's not something you can copy in a playbook. Politics is about people. The Democrats are so obsessed with identity politics, they don't know their own identity. They have to figure out who they are. And in a really simple way, Bubba did it, Barack Obama did it, they're going to have to do it themselves. Donald Trump became president because he was himself. Remember all those people, oh, he has to be more presidential. And he was like, no, I'm going to do it my way. I can be modern day presidential. And that's why you see him strafing people with feces. The challenge all politicians nationally.
Is that funny? American people? You're shitting on American people. That's hilarious.
Have is you have to embrace your base, and then you have to unite it with the moderate establishment part of your party, and then you have to peel off a slight majority of independents. That's how you win national elections. The problem the Democrats are having is there's this wide gap between their base and the rest of their party. Trans, open borders, no cash bail. There's no way the establishment wing can get out there and say they're for that stuff, because then they lose. So they have to lie about it, or they have to be sneaky about it, and then the voters can sniff that out. We can smell phoniness. Smell it right here at the set. Do you know that?
First name derangement syndrome. Now there's a new diagnosis of ballroom derangement syndrome, with the White House's major facelift being a Democratic point of discussion. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt bombarded with questions surrounding what should be a relatively innocuous renovation. Watch.
In July, the White House said that it would cost $200 million. Yesterday, the president said $300 million. Is $300 million now the operative figure, and why did it go up?
Well, today it's $350 million. They added another $50 million overnight.
By so much.
Is there like an official name? Like, are we calling it the Trump Ballroom? In addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden patio, is the president looking at any other renovations or significant kind of projects here at the White House?
Joining us now to react is Fox News contributor and senior writer for the Washington Examiner, Joe Concha. That is a lot of questions for the ballroom. Do you think that people across the country are like hyper-focused on the ballroom, or is it just the reporters in the briefing room yesterday?
Oh, I don't think one person, if you go to a soccer game or a barbecue this weekend, tailgate, no one's talking about this except those suffering from BDS, ballroom derangement syndrome. If you suffer from that for more than 4 hours, see your shrink. Look, then President Obama spent $400 million nearly on White House renovations in 2010, and the media wasn't all of it. Jackie Kennedy renovated the White House, and it was so embraced by the media and the public, they actually televised a special on it. It was viewed by 80 million viewers, and Jackie won an Emmy Award for it. So why do I get the feeling that if maybe a Democratic administration was adding a ballroom to the White House, that we wouldn't hear one word from those like Hillary Clinton, who went off on this, talking about the sanctity of the White House and how special it is when she and Bill Clinton literally rented out the Lincoln bedroom to 938 people. So maybe take...
The one thing I can't get over is how Obama took a tennis court and changed it to a basketball court. Like, I mean, golly. Like, and y'all worried about this ballroom? That's like, and Obama used taxpayer dollars on that. It's just un-American how people are just up in arms about this ballroom, but won't say anything about Obama's basketball court. I find it, shameful.
2 seats on this. You see all the renovations there on your screen. You could go down the line, Republican or Democrat. Teddy Roosevelt, he built the West Wing. Let's see, Taft created the executive office, Oval Office. FDR added an entire East Wing and even built an indoor pool for himself, which I would have done, of course. Truman gutted the entire White House. Nixon added a bowling alley before he Munson himself.
First name, Trump derangement syndrome now.
Under Joe Biden, we were dealing with different issues. I know it's crazy, but I seem to remember on this show and talking to people, we talked about crime. We talked about a broken border. We talked about transmania. We talked about the price of eggs and the price of gas. And we talked about a president who wasn't there. God, from 20 to 24, I wish we had this problem. I wish that we were sitting around talking about Joe Biden trying to fix up the White House rather than letting his son do lines off the toilet in the East Wing. Hillary criticizing someone for denigrating the White House. I mean, at least when Trump wanted the floor stained, he got a professional. And it's true, Trump is building a ballroom, but for Hillary's husband, every room was a ballroom. You know what I'm saying, young lady? This is a press gimmick. When they focus on some ephemeral activity and they pretend it's the only thing happening. It's like, you know, doing a damning story on a fireman caught talking on his phone and leaving out the part that he had just rescued orphans and puppies from a fire. And he's on the phone calling his wife saying, honey, I adopted an orphan and a chihuahua. That part is not in the story. So instead they say like, oh, they forget about what has Trump been working on? Well, the Middle East peace deal. That was just a few days ago. That was just a few days ago. He's dealing with, you know, Putin and Zelensky. That's tough work. He's got immigration. He's got the crime, the border, you name it. Jeff Daniels is right. Lincoln would definitely not release an AI meme. And also, Ben Franklin would never call an Uber. Thomas Jefferson would never post his orgies on Pornhub. No. That's for sure. It's amazing how Trump could take comedic actors, saw them there, and flip them into like these humorless gas bags where he actually goes on TV. That guy is a comedic actor and he's as funny as shingles. You know, I think the issue is that these people, and I'll say everybody from De Niro to Jeff Daniels, they have a problem with Trump because he's real. He's not playing a role. These people find joy in their characters and being inside a character, but when they're not in it, they're detached. They're dissociated. You know, their reality and their thoughts and the world around them, they're not connected to it. Imagine your whole life where you're happier being someone else, and then you're faced with somebody like Trump, who's happy being Trump, and you don't understand it. It's like these are people that are just not comfortable when they aren't acting. That's what makes a great actor, is not having no self, not having a self. Anyway, that's my psychoanalysis for today. I'm afraid that's all the time we have. Emily?
I ain't gonna lie. Doing lines off the toilet seat is crazy. But it's true. Let's not act like y'all ain't never went to the bathroom stall and did a couple bumps. Like shit, let's be real.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. All right, Caroline. Are the Democrats jealous that Trump's building this big, beautiful ballroom?
It certainly appears that way, Jesse, and I believe there's a lot of fake outrage right now because nearly every single president who has lived in this beautiful White House behind me has made modernizations and renovations of their own. And in fact, presidents for decades in the modern time have quipped about how they wish they had a larger event space here at the White House that can hold hundreds more people than the current East Room and State Dining Rooms can. In fact, President Obama notably complained that during his tenure, he had to hold a state visit on the South Lawn and get a very expensive tent. If you talk to journalists who have covered the White House for decades, as I do here every single day, they will also tell you that administration after administration have publicly and privately spoken about the need for a larger event space. So while many presidents have privately dreamt about this, it's President Trump who is actually doing something about it. And he is the builder in chief. chief. In large part, he was reelected back to this people's house because he's good at building things. He has done it his entire life, his entire career. And construction is a process at the end. The East Wing, which is an entirely separate structure from the executive mansion you see behind me, will be more modern and beautiful than ever. And then on top of that, the White House is going to have a big, beautiful ballroom for generations of Americans to come. And the best part of it all, it's not a dime of the taxpayers' money. The president has worked hard to privately fund this entire project from start to finish.
Yeah,
Well, my thing is, I gotta add in my 2 cents. It's not that it'll be around for generations to come. And it's not that it won't be a big, beautiful ballroom. And it's not that there's even some construction going on at the White House, because really, who really cares? I think the most important thing here is the cost. The cost and the donors. So it went from 100 to 200 to 300, now $350 million, along with a lawsuit on the Department of Justice, who he says could be funding this thing. Now, Trump is a great builder, but there's a list of lawsuits in Trump's past of him not paying his builders. So, I think that's the bigger issue within all this. I don't think it's really like, demolishing the building, the White House. I don't really get the outrage for it. It's the payment of it. That's what I'm thinking about. Like, all right, okay, you're going to use American dollars to do it? Okay, but now he says, I'm going to privately fund it. And then it comes out, hey, he's suing the Department of Justice at the same time. Like, what are we doing? But I don't know. Maybe y'all see it different. Do y'all see it different? I don't know.
These renderings, and it kind of got me thinking, he's likely going to go down as the greatest builder of this era, and you've been in on a lot of those meetings with him. Has, to your knowledge, has the subject of rebuilding the Holy Temple in Jerusalem come up?
It has not. No. It has not. I don't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
These renderings, and it kind of got me.
So it sounds like the answer is yes, he can tear down whatever he wants. And then secondly, I mean...
that's not what we're saying. That's a legal opinion that's been held for many years. And
interpreting it.
No, it's something that presidents have done for years and years. In fact, I have some photos here. Thank you, Pat, to show...
Okay. She's very upset about the White... Let me just tell you something, okay? I read this on X earlier today. Teddy Roosevelt built the West Wing. Taft made the executive office oval. FDR added the entire East Wing and included an indoor pool for himself. Truman gutted the entire White House. Nixon added a bowling alley. Obama added a basketball court. And Trump is adding a ballroom. Why are we having such a meltdown? What is it? I mean, like, where was the meltdown over the basketball court? Why did we have a meltdown when Truman gutted the White House? Like the whole thing? Each president adds something. No one's destroying the East Wing for it never to be rebuilt. He's in construction. He saw a need. He found a way to fund it. And now every president who ever lives there will have an additional space in which to hold events, Stu.
Yeah, it's funny because the point of like, I can't think of a better, personification of what's going on than taking a wrecking ball to the White House. First of all, I don't know who she heard it from backstage. It's funny that she's now admitting that she doesn't even have her own thoughts.
It was on Scarborough this morning. She heard it on Morning Joe, and she refused to give attribution.
Yeah, every left-wing person has tweeted something like this. I've seen that picture on Twitter 100 times already, and but that's not where he's in the coming days.
Yeah, this Saturday.
And you should get him to
go buy your tickets at MeganKelly.com.
I already have mine, Megan. I don't know what you're talking about. I already have
awesome.
mine. But you should get him to tell this story because he was with Trump in the White House and they're walking around and he's showing him, and he took Glenn on a tour of the White House and mapped this entire thing out to him, the entire ballroom, where it was going, how he was going to use it. It's fascinating. And, Donald Trump looks at this not because he likes things that are presidents in the future and will do something, will communicate something to the rest of the world. We're not in decline. We're not in managed decline. This is the golden age. This is what he wants people to believe about America, not just Americans, but the people that come over here that he has to have, deal in diplomacy and negotiations with. It's all part of, I do believe, an actual strategy here. And I think, honestly, like, future presidents are going to find it
if we get a Democrat elected next time around, God forbid, that person's not going to undo it. Even if they could get the private funding to undo it, they're not going to say, let's get rid of that terrible ballroom. They're all going to love having it. There's going to be concerts at the White House. There'll be like balls at the White House. It'll be fun. It'll be something festive. And sure enough, it'll be someplace to entertain foreign dignitaries who literally are lining up for photo ops with our current resident of the White House. When Trump went over to the Middle East, they were waiting in like a red rope line to have their picture taken with a fellow leader, Donald Trump. So yes, he does want something grand.
I thought she was about to say with a felon, but no.
And at the White House to help show off American power and also just to entertain it. I mean, this is his business. You would not know that's all this was if you were just to watch, let's say, The View or Morning Joe. Just take a look at SOT 33B, which happened before her comments there. Okay. She's very upset about the White House. Let me just...
Day and night. For some women, it can start working in as quick as 1 week.